The Young and the Restless recap for Monday, September 1st, reveals a day full of heartbreak, betrayal, and emotional confrontations. Claire Newman panics when Kyle Abbott makes a bold marriage offer. Nate Hastings finds himself blindsided by Audra Charles's confession, and Victoria Newman steps in to provide unexpected comfort. At Society, Jack Abbott can't shake the worry that Kyle's decision to propose might backfire. Jack has lived long enough to know that rushing into romance usually doesn't end well, and Claire's fragile trust could shatter if Kyle pushes too far, too fast. Diane Jenkins Abbott, however, doesn't share Jack's doubts. She insists that maybe romance will win out. Maybe Claire will see Kyle's sincerity and get swept up in the moment. The conversation turns to business, and Jack reveals he's considering teaming up with Billy Abbott to go after Chancellor. Diane isn't convinced Jack can separate personal feelings from business, especially when Nikki Newman is involved. She challenges Jack, pointing out that his protective streak toward Nikki might get in the way of his judgment. For Diane, everything comes back to Kyle. She makes it clear that Jack must put their son first, and that trusting Victor Newman is never an option. With Billy being unpredictable, Diane believes Jack is the one who has to step up, take control, and be the person who finally takes Victor down. Over at the Abbott mansion, Kyle sets the stage for a romantic evening. He creates the perfect atmosphere, raising a glass and a toast as Claire arrives. With heartfelt words, Kyle admits his mistakes and reflects on how foolish he was to keep secrets from her. He promises that he knew coming clean was the only choice, though he acknowledges that his parents encouraged him to confess. Claire immediately grows suspicious, worrying that Jack and Diane pushed him into honesty. Kyle quickly assures her it was his decision alone, framing it as the only way to move forward. Claire listens, but she doesn't let Kyle off the hook easily. She insists that if their relationship is to continue, it must happen slowly, one careful step at a time. Kyle nods, appearing to agree, and tells her he's ready to rebuild her trust. But actions speak louder than words, and Kyle's actions soon prove he's not truly listening to Claire's request. As they sit down to dinner, Kyle drops hints about their future, going so far as to imagine being with Claire 50 years from now. His words are filled with love, but also with the determination to move faster than Claire is ready for. Then, in a moment that shocks her, Kyle pulls out a ring from the family jeweler. Claire's unease is obvious as she asks what he's doing, but Kyle won't be deterred. He drops to one knee, opens the box, and pours his heart out. Kyle insists that the only person he can imagine loving more than Claire Newman is Claire Abbott. With that, he formally asks her to marry him. Instead of joy, Claire's reaction is panic. Tears well up in her eyes, but her expression is far from happy. She shakes her head in disbelief, overwhelmed by the pressure of the proposal. Rather than feeling cherished, Claire feels cornered, and Kyle's grand gesture threatens to undo all the progress they've made. Meanwhile, at Crimson Lights, Audra Charles is desperate to salvage her relationship with Nate Hastings. She approaches him with hope in her voice, asking if they can find a way to fix things. Nate isn't interested in sweet talk. He wants the truth. Pressed to come clean, Audra admits what she's been hiding. She confesses that she accepted Victor Newman's Vibrante offer, agreeing to break up Kyle and Claire in exchange for funding. Nate is horrified as the pieces click into place. Not only did Audra strike a deal behind his back, but she took things too far in the process, seducing Kyle in order to carry out her plan. Audra tries to downplay her actions, insisting she never intended to sleep with Kyle. Yes, she kissed him, but she argues that she wouldn't have crossed that final line. She pleads for Nate to believe her when she says she's learned her lesson. But for Nate, the betrayal is already complete. It's not just about the kiss or about Kyle, it's about the lies. Audra deliberately misled him, hid her arrangement with Victor, and chose manipulation over honesty. That's a line Nate can't forgive. He makes it painfully clear that he's done with her before storming out, leaving Audra stunned and furious. Amanda Sinclair happens to witness the tail end of their blow-up. Curious, she approaches Audra to ask what just happened, but Audra isn't in the mood to explain. Instead, she snaps at Amanda, telling her to mind her own business. Amanda backs off, but she's clearly taking mental notes about the drama unfolding around her. As for Nate, he wanders to the park to clear his head and escape the sting of betrayal. There, he runs into Victoria Newman, who notices his obvious distress. Victoria gently asks what's wrong, and Nate decides to open up. He admits that his relationship with Audra is over for good, confessing the details of her deception. Victoria listens with empathy, offering the comfort Nate so desperately needs. She assures him that betrayal is painful, but he's not alone. She's there for him, both as a sounding board and as a friend. Nate thanks her for her kindness, his gratitude clear. Victoria brushes it off as nothing more than what friends do for each other, but there's a softness between them that suggests friendship might not be where things end. The chemistry they've shared in the past simmers beneath the surface, and Victoria's willingness to step in now raises the possibility of rekindled romance. Monday's episode brings all of these threads together in a whirlwind of emotion. Jack and Diane debate how to protect Kyle, with Diane urging Jack to take Victor down. Kyle himself pushes too far, too fast, by proposing to Claire and watching in horror as she panics instead of celebrating. Audra's lies come crashing down around her, costing her Nate's love, while Nate finds solace in Victoria's arms. The fallout from this day will reverberate throughout Genoa City. Kyle may have destroyed his chance with Claire by ignoring her wishes. Audra may have lost Nate forever, despite her desperate excuses. And Victoria's role in Nate's heartbreak could draw her closer to him in unexpected ways. The Young and the Restless delivered a Monday episode packed with passion, betrayal, and raw emotion, setting the stage for even more drama as the week unfolds.